Hey guys, welcome to our next webinar on how to create your first website using HTML and CSS. So we're gonna wait like a few more seconds, let everyone to join. And in the meantime, I'm gonna show you what we're gonna build today. So that's what you can see. Is the end result. So this is how the website will look like today after webinar. This is something which you're gonna build, and I'm gonna help you to build this one. And before we start, and before all people join to our webinar, I also wanted to show you a couple of interesting links for you. So you can already register for the future, for the next webinars. The next one will be about the JavaScript next Tuesday. So feel free to register already, so you won't miss it. And by the way, we also have a Facebook group. So let's keep coding. So you can join group because we will be posting all materials here. All the materials here all requires materials. Also some quizzes, and in case you have any questions or doubts, we will be there to help you and answer all your questions. And yeah, I think that we will be starting shortly. Just see that I can see that still people are joining. So there is one question: how long the session will go? We should be ready in 1 hour. I think that we can make this website within 1 hour from scratch. But it all depends also on the questions you might have. So if you have any questions, just feel free to post them, and we're gonna try to answer all of them. Okay, guys. So the last thing which I want to mention is that you can also download files for today's lesson from GitHub repository. So this is you will find the end result, the final code here in the final directory, and also you will find all the tutorial steps in files in different lessons in here. So if you miss something during the webinar, don't worry, just follow up afterwards. Okay, guys. So let's get started. So in order to start, what we're gonna do, I will be using Visual Studio Code. So I also strongly encourage you to use the same one. You can download it for free. So this is the editor I'm gonna use. So let's start with our setup for our tutorial today. So let's just create a new folder. We're gonna call it like my project or my website, doesn't really matter. And let's open this this folder in Visual Studio Code. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to create two files, because our website, this is the preview of the final website, will consist of this main landing page and the small page which will say coming soon, which we will redirect to from the main page. Okay, so let's start with creating these two files. As you know, you can create files in your operating system. So just click, if you're using Windows, just create like new text document and call it index.html. So this is our main file, or you can use Visual Studio Code to do this. So you can just click this icon. If you are inside your folder, project folder, just click this one, new file, and we're gonna create another file. Let's call it project HTML. Okay. Other than that, we also gonna need one new file, which will be called styles.css. And let's stop for a moment here. So today we're gonna learn about HTML and CSS mostly. So what HTML and what CSS are. So HTML is abbreviation for hypertext markup language, and it stands for markup language for creating web pages and web applications. So with cascading style sheets, so CSS and JavaScript, it forms a kind of triangle which is mostly used to create websites. So if we open any kind of page, I don't know, let's go to google.com, and if you right click on the background and click on view page source, you will see the page, the source code of Google page, of main page of Google. And as you can see, these tags, which you can mostly see here, this is like mix of HTML, of CSS and JS all together. So we are using those three technologies mostly to create websites. And today we're gonna focus on mostly on HTML and CSS. So since we have our files ready, let's start typing our first piece of code. And just one disclaimer, guys, don't worry if you do not understand something. It's okay if it is new to you, just try to follow, and once you do it, once you come back to this one, you will probably get understanding. And also when you type and then open the your website in the web browser, you're gonna understand what's actually going on and what just happened. And also if you miss something, you can always get back to this afterwards. This webinar is gonna be recorded, so you will be able to get back to this one and just pause it and think of it a little bit longer. Okay, so since, as I said, we are about to create this website in 1 hour, let's start typing. So first we need to create a declaration that our file is using the newest HTML5. Again, this is one of the things which you don't need to remember or understand. And now it's just important that this is required for the moment, and we're gonna cover this in the future lessons. Why is it actually important? Okay, so let's create our first HTML tag, and inside this HTML tag, we're gonna create a head tag. Okay, now let's indent this one so our code will be more readable, and then let's give our website a title. So I'm gonna call it my website. Okay, now let's also create a body tag for our page. So this is the place where we will store the main content of our web page, and let's say stay at home here. And our first index.html file is ready for now. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna copy exactly the same content to our project.html, and I'm just gonna paste it. I'm gonna change the title so we know that this is a different page. And I'm gonna call it project details. So in the future, we're gonna put some details about our project in here, and we're gonna say coming soon in a body. So let's open our page in a web browser. So So let's get back to our files, and let's open this one. Okay, so this is our index.html, stay at home, and this is our project. Well, it doesn't look sexy yet, but we will work on that. So now, before we move on, I just want to show you this correlation between HTML tags which we just used. So as you can see, this is how more or less our website structure looks like. So the HTML is from very top to very bottom. The head part containing our title is between head tags, and the content goes in between the body tags. So as you can see, the title is being displayed here and the body is being displayed here. Okay, so now when we created like a structure for our website, well, let's start with some content. Let's add some content to our website. So we're gonna create some heading, we're gonna create some paragraph, and we're gonna some div. And don't worry if you do not understand these names yet. You're gonna shortly understand what's going on. So I'm gonna create h1 tag. So our heading, our title. I'm gonna create paragraph and some paragraph here with some text, and I'm gonna create a div. Okay, and I'm gonna refresh our main index web page. And what you can see here is that we have these three new elements pop-ups on our website. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna open something which is called developer tools. This is a tool which is very useful for developers, so you should get familiar with this because it will be very handy for you when you start creating websites by yourself. So if we hover over this element, so here on the right side we can see the HTML code of our website, and in the left side of the screen we can see our a preview of our website. So if we hover over this, we see the different parts of the website are getting highlighted, and you can see at the first glance you can think that this paragraph and div is pretty much the same, and they actually look similar, but they have some semantic difference. A div, so this element or this element is designed to describe a container of data, whereas a P, like for paragraph, element is designed to describe a paragraph of content, of text. So if you need generic container purely for layout purpose, then you are using div, and if you need an element to describe paragraph, some text, then you are using P. So you might already notice that we are using different tags, right? So this like body, h1, p, and div, they are different kind of tags. And as you already noticed, all tags which we are using which you're using here, they have starting and ending tag. But this is not always the case, because we might use, for example, br tag, which basically creates move the text to the new line for us. And as you can see, this is the tag which has only the starting tags, only the starting and not the ending. Okay, so another important thing for you to remember about HTML is that you can nest tag. So as you can see, we have this HTML tag here. This is where it starts and this is where it ends, and we have this head. Oh, actually, I made a mistake here. The head should be ending here. right? Let's fix it here as well. So coming back, so this, so the head tag is nested under HTML, and that's how we create a structure, right? So we have title, which is nested under head, which is nested under HTML. And again, if we see this on if we see this one in web developer tools, we can see that head is collapsed now. When we open this, we can see the title gets underneath. Okay, so this is next learning point here for today, that HTML text can be nested under each others. Okay, so since we know that there are tags, now another important thing you have to know is that each tag, HTML tag, can have so-called attributes. So attributes provide additional information about an element, and we are always specifying this additional attributes in starting tag. So here at the beginning, never in the ending tag. So for example, and you're gonna see it soon, we have there is image tag in HTML, which allows us to display image. So if you have some image of your cat inside your directory where your website is stored, you can say display for me our cat image, and this will display this is gonna display image on our website. We can quickly check this one, cat image. I'm gonna download some image quickly to our folder. So downloads, my project. I'm gonna call it cat, and I'm gonna refresh website, and this is how you place images into your website. Okay. So another very common attribute, one of the mostly used, is a class attribute, and the class attribute is an attribute which is related to the CSS classes, which we're gonna learn right now. So I'm gonna remove our image here. Let me quickly go through questions, because there are some questions on the chat. So I will just quickly go through them and answer them. So, do front-end developers get same salary as package as backend? Hamza. Well, not exactly, not really. We covered this in our previous webinar. So I'm gonna put a link to our previous webinar on the chat, so you can check this one when we compare the salaries depending on the technology, but they are not the same and they are changing in time. Okay. Are you not using command line? Yeah, I'm not using command line here because I want to keep this very basic for like an entry level. So so I don't want to make it too too difficult. We will learn about command line and live servers and so on later on. For now, I just want to keep it very simple. Why head is closed after body? It's already fixed. So by mistake, this head was under body, but it shouldn't be here. It should be like this. So it's fixed already. Leo is asking, will this be available for later viewing? Yes, it will be available for later viewing, so it will be recorded and you will be able to get there. So that's why I encourage you to join our Facebook group, because there will be where we will post this. Okay, guys, so most of the questions answered. We will see React JS or ES6 syntax in the future. Yes, Josue, yes, we're gonna see that. And Brian is asking, am I late? No, you are not, Brian. Just check the links above and you can continue. We just started creating very basic part of our website. Okay, guys, let's continue. So what is CSS? So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. CSS describes how HTML elements are to be displayed on the screen, and in order to visualize it, I like this picture very much, right? So HTML is like a structure, it's like our bones, and CSS is giving us some like look, style. So let's see how those this CSS styles actually works. So what we're gonna do right now, I'm gonna add new I'm gonna add class to our heading, our paragraph, and our div. So I'm gonna type class. So this is how I bind class to our heading, and let's call it heading. Then I'm gonna add another class to our paragraph, and I'm gonna call it, let's say it's our summary. Vladimir, hi from Delft. Hello, Vladimir. And div, and we're gonna give class, let's say, details. Okay, so there are a few different ways how we can style our component. I'm gonna start with the very basic one. So in order to add styles to your website, you can use tag which is called style, like again opening and closing, and this is where you can start typing our styles. So let's create a first class and let's call it heading, open brackets, and let's say that we want our heading, which currently looks like this. We want to increase a font size of our heading. So I'm gonna type font size, and I'm gonna use 100 pixels for this one. And now if you refresh our page, boom, our heading suddenly become much larger. This is a real heading which we wanted. So how it works? Basically, our browser, when it's rendering a view for us, it's basically going through this for our files, website files. It's analyzing our styles. It sees that we have this class here, and we want everything which has this heading class applied. We want to change its font size to 100 pixels, and then it's going through all HTML elements, and if it finds corresponding element with this class, it will apply the same style. So if we copy this class name to a paragraph, it will also get the same font size. Okay, so let's do some more changes. So I'm gonna add another class. So let's say we want our summary. We want our summary to be, let's say, to have color blue. Okay, and then for our details, let's say we want to give a border. And let's see what's gonna happen. So as you can see, our heading changed the size, our paragraph changed color, and our div got this border. So again, don't worry if you don't understand this these parameters. You will just learn them while you create more websites. And also this documentation for them is available online. So if you go to MD Bootstrap Education, for example, /CSS, you will find for example, this borders section explained here, and it will explain to you how you can use how to achieve different border like this, like rounded, or just single border like left one or bottom one. So don't worry at the moment if you don't understand. Just get the basic idea that we are changing border of our div or the color of our paragraph. Okay guys, so if you have this basic understanding of what HTML and CSS is, let's stop here for a second and let's get back to developer tools. So as I mentioned before, you can open developer tools in Chrome from here. So just go to settings, more tools, developer tools. And I just wanted to again highlight how it is important for developers, for you guys to get familiar with this tool, because it's gonna be very, very handy and useful for you. And as you can see, if I'm gonna hover over, for example, our paragraph, on the right side, I see all styles which are applied here. Why is it important? For example, if you go to any kind of website, let's go to mdbootstrap.com and open console, open our developer console, you see some element which looks nice to you. For example, this one, this icon, you like it very much. So you can check this one in a developer tool, and you see what kind of classes are applied to this one, right? You can even change them in the fly. So you can change color, you can change size, and see how this style applies or affects actually all these elements on the fly. So this is very, very useful, and you can even change them. So for example, for our heading, you can using developer tools, you can change, for example, color to red. And as you can see, this change will apply immediately. And of course, keep in mind that they are not permanent. So if we refresh our page, they will be gone. Okay, guys, let's move on because we have still plenty of code to write. So now when you know how to use it, how to use styles, I want you to know that you can store your style sheets in the same file as HTML, but it's not it isn't really a best way. So how we should do it? We should basically store our styles in the separate file. And if you remember, we created styles.css file at the very, very beginning. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna cut styles from index.html file, and I'm gonna move to style.css file, and I'm just gonna paste them. And one important thing to mention and to remember here, if you want to keep your styles in a separate file, you don't need this style tags, so just remove them, because they will raise an error. Okay, so but now question is, since our styles are in the separate file, so how we can use them in our index.html file? So there is another tag for this, and this tag is called link. So again, you don't need to remember this by heart. You can always find Google this, just type how to include CSS styles or CSS file, and you will find it easily. But actually, if you also start building more and more pages, you will also just learn it by heart, and you will see more. You can type it automatically. Okay, so let's finish this one. So we're gonna say the type is text.css. Don't worry, don't remember this one at this moment. Then let's add another parameter, and a very important parameter is this ref, where we're gonna say that we want to include our style.css file. And let's close our tag. Okay, so now let's refresh our page. And it didn't work. Now question why? Well, in order to check that, we will use console, which is inside web developer tools. So that's why I said it's very important you get familiar with this one, because console is another tool. This is the second tab here, which will show us all errors in our code. So as you can see, these errors are very descriptive, so you can easily understand what's going on. So if you look at this one, it's pointing very precisely that our error is index.html file in line number 6. And it also very clearly says that the error states that file is not found. So let's get back to our code and let's verify what's going on. And of course, this is because I made a typo, right? I put style.css while our file is called styles in plural.cs. So let's quickly fix it, save the file, refresh the page, and now everything works like a charm. Okay, guys, so from now on, you know how HTML attributes works and that we can style them using different styles. So I will show you how to create which styles to use, and I'm gonna create with you. This website which I showed you at the very beginning. So let's move on and so this is how our website will looks like at the very end. Okay, guys, let's continue. So now, before we start, let's do some cleanup in our project. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave the structure with HTML and body. And there is a question from Jakub. Yeah, today only HTML and CSS without Bootstrap. That's correct. For today, we will focus on HTML and CSS. Next webinar, please keep in mind that every Tuesday we will have this kind of webinars the same time. So for the next webinar, we will cover JavaScript, so HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And if I remember correctly, for the next one, we will have Bootstrap basics. So if you want to get notified about this one, just guys, you can go there and subscribe yourself for next webinars, and you can also see the list of coming webinars soon. Okay, guys, so let's do a cleanup. So let's remove unnecessary stuff. I removed these paragraphs, and since we remove paragraphs, we can also remove our styles because we don't need them. And we don't need them anymore. Okay, so our website will consist of few elements. So we're gonna create some div, and we're gonna apply class for this div, which will call heading. Inside this div, we're gonna create a few elements. So we're gonna create 2 paragraphs. So I'm gonna have this p class title, and we're gonna say mdb coding inside the paragraph, and we're gonna create another paragraph with different class. Let's call it subtitle. Subtitle. You need to be very careful, subtitle, because if you make a typo, of course your styles won't get applied. Okay, so in the subtitle, I'm gonna write for those who love coding. Okay, and the last thing we're gonna use is gonna be a button. So a button is another element, HTML tag, another element which is used to build website. You've seen these buttons everywhere. So all the login, register, and so on and so on. So let's see how this looks like now. So I'm gonna refresh our page. Okay, it's not really impressive yet, but let's see what's gonna happen in a few minutes. Okay, let's make a short stop here because I want to give you some insight and remark about indents. So as you might notice, I'm using this indents. So the code is in flat, right? So if we were, this is actually one of the reasons why it's important or actually convenient to use editors, advanced editors like Visual Studio Code, because if I were writing this code in normal Notepad, you can see that everything would be on the same level, which makes this quite difficult to read, right? If everything is on the same level. So this is why we are using this indents, right? So you can clearly see that within our head tag we have title and this link. Within our div consists of 3 elements. So these indents are there, and they are very important. So you should use them from the very beginning, because it's very, very good practice. And also, as you might seen, using these tools like Visual Studio Code just makes it easier, because if I'm creating new line here, it will automatically jump here and not to the beginning of our line. Okay, so that's it about indents. And now let's move to another very important thing for HTML and for the web development. Okay, so we have learned how to connect external CSS files, but now let's learn how to link other files and websites and subpage in our domain, because usually a website isn't just the single page, it consists of different subpages, and you can browse between them. So in order to move to other web page in our project, we need to use a new tag, which is h tag, and we're gonna say href. So this is pointer, and we will point to project.html file, which we created before. So we are pointing here to that file, and we will say go to projects. As you can see, Visual Studio Code already closed tag for me. So let's refresh the page, and you can see that we have this tag here. And when we're gonna click on it, it will open project.html file, and we can of course do the same in here. So we will say index.html, and we will say back to home. And now we can go back and forward from between our pages. Now this tag it is very important and very, very commonly used. We can use it to redirect user between pages within our domain, within our project, but we can also redirect user to go to different page. So if we create something like this, and let's paste it in a correct file, which is index file. So we will see new link, more tutorials. If I'm gonna click on it, it will open me, it will redirect me to another web page. Now, another important thing about h tag is that we can also link not only to files, I mean to HTML files, to different websites, but we can link to the different kind of types, like images, for example. So we can do something like this. We can paste location of the file and then say enlarge image. Okay, so I'm gonna refresh now, and if we're gonna click on this enlarge image, it will open image in a full size. And just for information, we're not gonna check it now. You can also attach different kind of files. So if we would have PDF file here, it would go and open a PDF file. And I don't remember if we have zip file. No, we don't have zip file, but if we were having zip file on the server, Oh, actually we have. I just changed the name, so I connected this one to the zip file, so it will download a zip. So this is very important, tag in web development. Okay, another important thing is that until now I've been putting text in between tags, but that doesn't mean that we always have to use text. What we can do is we can also use actually anything else. We can put button here, we can put image here, we can put table here, we can put div here, whatever, right? So in our case, what we want to do is that we want to wrap our button with this tags, and as a result, we want our button become, we want that every time someone clicks on our button, it will redirect him to our project.html file. Okay, so this, as far as structure is concerned, this that will be it. And now we will see, we will apply some styles, so we can see how applying the styles and CSS styles can change this website from this to that, just using CSS style. So let's get to work. Okay, so now we are moving to CSS file, and what we have to do at the very beginning, we have to apply styles to our HTML, so this, and to body tag, and I'm gonna show you why very soon. So if we open, again, if we check our website in Web Developer Tools, and we're gonna hover over HTML, you will see that this is the size, the bluish part. It's showing us the height of our website. So it's not full size, right? It doesn't fit into the whole page. The same applies to our body tag, which is even smaller, right? And since we want to have our page showed on the full screen, we want to we need to change its height using CSS style. So let's do it right now. I'm gonna type that we want to have HTML and body to have height 100%. Now, important thing again, important thing to remember is that I just applied the same style to different elements, right? So as you can notice, this is important to know about CSS, that you can apply the same style to different elements. So we don't have to create two separate styles for this one. Just don't copy paste the same code over and over again. We can do it smarter like this. So let's see if something changed right now. So again, I refresh the page and check with the developer tools, and as you can see now, the entire height is blue. So our website is covering the full height of our page, and this is what we were looking for. Now, another interesting and important thing is that we can also apply images using CSS to our elements. So now let's do let's use image as a background for our website. So again, I'm gonna apply, but this time I want to use it only for body. So I'm gonna create it in separate section, and I'm gonna say background. By the way, you might notice that while typing, Visual Studio Code is suggesting me the correct name of all possible parameters in CSS. So it's also very, very handy. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use URL. So I'm gonna provide a link to image, which I prepared before. So I'm just gonna paste it, refresh our page, and voila, let's close it. This is how we make background image to our web page. By the way, you might notice that our text just disappeared. Actually, it didn't disappear. It's just because it was black. Now it seems to be invisible, but it's still here, right? Okay, there are a couple of more things which we have to do now. So in order to make this picture better, we will change and adjust its size. And we're gonna use cover option. And again, don't worry for now. I'm not gonna go into much details about what this is changing for you. It's just important you can see. So I'm gonna refresh the page now, so you will see how it changed, right? So it becomes slightly smaller to fit into the whole page. Don't worry. It's it's not about remembering and learning by heart all these settings. You can always Google them, and you will always find them in documentation. So for now, it's more important for you to follow and more or less get the concept of what's going on and what we are changing. Okay, so I'm gonna reposition now our picture more to the center. So again, just try to make the not the difference. So I'm refreshing now. Boom. So it got more centered. And now another thing is that except for image, you can also use a solid color for our web page. And I have prepared some color before, so I'm gonna use this one. And now, just for a second, I will just remove these styles to show you what the color is. So this is the color I prepared. Again, it's not that sexy, but you will see why I did it in a second. So if I'm gonna use both image and color, then image will cover our color, but there is an option in CSS to blend our color with our image. So if I'm gonna use another CSS option, background blend mode screen, and now see what's gonna happen. So we got this like bluish effect on our image, which I think and believe looks much better. And also our picture is not, it has less contrast, so the font will be more visible. Okay, so now we have our background ready. Let's move to the next element. As I said before, our fonts are barely visible now. So we will change its color to white. And now another learning point in here is that, of course, you already know how to change font color, and you already know that you can apply that you could create a class for title and subtitle. So you could basically do it like title, color white, and you could also do another class, subtitle, color white again, and this will basically change. But in programming, you need to remember that programmers, they don't like to repeat each other, and they don't like to repeat the code. So here we have the same piece of code. So instead, what we can do in our example, instead of applying this style to the same color to different elements, I'm just gonna remove it from here. I'm gonna leave the styles I'm gonna leave the classes for later. And what I'm gonna use asterisk. So asterisk in IT means basically everything. So if you use this one, it will apply these styles to almost every single element on our page. So since we don't have many elements, I'm gonna use it first of all to show you how it works, and secondly to change the color of all fonts because we just have 2 paragraphs. So I'm gonna say color white, not wheat, I wanted white. And I'm gonna refresh, just make sure that it works. So now I remove all the coloring, refreshing the page, it's black again, and now I'm gonna use color white, refresh, and boom, it's applied to all elements including our button. If you notice, it also changed. Okay, guys, now you might notice one important thing is that when I was changing HTML and body, I didn't use dot at the very beginning, right? And for the title and subtitle, I'm using dot. So what's the difference? So basically, the difference is that if we use dot title, it will be applied to any element which has this class, right? So in our case, this paragraph has this class. But I could also have an image with class title. And then it would be applied, browser would apply the same styles for both image and paragraph because they both have the same class name. On the other hand, if I would like to apply some style to all images on my web page, assuming that I have more of them, I have some gallery and I want to change, I don't know, the size of all of them. I would like to change the size of them. I would, excuse me, I could use this image selector without dot, which means that this will apply the style to all images on our website. There is a question from TJ. What's the URL for the background? So please, here you have, this is the style, and this is image. And by the way, I'm using unsplash.com website for free images. So very nice resource of free images for everyone and for free. So you can use them on your website, even for a commercial project. Very cool. So it's worth mentioning them. Okay, guys. So I hope you feel. I hope you get this difference now. So if you don't use dot and you use the tag name, like, you know, head, title, P, whatever, or actually here P, it will apply these styles to all elements which are like paragraph. And if you want to apply them only to certain elements, then you can use classes like this one. And the class can be applied to multiple elements, right? So you can have like you can have a heading and paragraph or a table using the same class. Okay, guys. So now let's move to our heading. So what heading is? Heading is our div here, and what we want to do is we want to use CSS to move our heading, this part, to the center. We want to center this vertically and horizontally. So let's do it now using CSS. So let's create a new class. Let's call it heading. And what I want to do first, I want to give it a proper height and width. So I'm gonna set it to 600 pixels and height to 600 pixels. So for those of you which are not familiar with pixels and other other I'm missing a word. Education. For those of you which are units, that was the word I was missing. With the other units, you can check documentation. So you can use different units like centimeters, millimeters, inch, pixels, and so on and so on. So just take your time, and after webinar, just try to you don't even have to read much about them. Just try to apply them and see what's the difference between like pixels and centimeters and so on. Okay, guys. So. Since we provide a proper width and height to our heading, let's try to center it. So in order to do that, and this is again something which you don't have to remember, just you can keep it for future, because most probably you're gonna you're gonna use it in the future. So just keep in mind, save this file somewhere, and you can just simply reuse this hack to center something vertically and horizontally. So I'm gonna do it like this, and I'm gonna talk a little about margins a little bit later. For now, just let's do it. And as you can see, we got this thing being centered right here. There's a question: if I want to change a paragraph wise, how to do that? I'm not sure what's Ganesh are you asking about. Are you talking about changing styles or content? So if you could just precise your question, then I will be happy to answer it. Okay, so we have it now centered. Oh, there is a typo. Let me just fix it. Okay, now it's centered. There was a dash extra. Okay, so now let's move to the title. So what we want to do now, as you let me quickly show you this one. Our heading and subtitles, they are in between this heading div. So but they are aligned to the left side of the div. So what we want to do, we want to align them to the center. So let's use CSS to do that. So in order to align them, we can do text align and simply say center. As you can see, those most of these attributes are pretty self-descriptive, and you can, if you use either like Visual Studio Code, you can almost guess what that's gonna do. So I hope that this shows for some of you that the programming isn't that scary as it seems. Okay, what we also want to do, we want to increase the font size to 80 pixels. So we did it in the past, so just do the same right now, 80 pixels. And I also want to change font family. So yes, you can change font family. So please have a closer look at this title, because after refresh it will change a font. See, so you can do and much more with CSS. That's why I mean you should really learn and start using this. Okay, guys, and I also want to. What I want to do is I said that I'm gonna cover margins, so let's have a look at project in developer tools, and let's see that our title has these margins in front, above and below. So this one. The orange part, right? I'm gonna show you here, right? So these are margins, and again, as you can see, for now you just need to remember that margins basically this is like the space in between which we use to separate our elements from each other, and this is related to so-called box model. So every element in HTML has this box model, so it has some size, like our heading has this size right now. It has some paddings, border and margin, and for you to remember that something like this exists for now, and you can read more about this in the documentation. So what I want to do right now, I want to change this bottom one of the margins. I want to decrease them. So let's say I want to have this bottom margin smaller, because I don't want this subtitle to go that much down, because then the button is going out of the table. So I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use margin bottom, and I'm gonna change it to 0 pixel. So see what's gonna happen now, where this one will jump up. Boom. So this is, now we have this margin smaller. Okay, our title is ready. So let's move to subtitle, and we are getting to end of this webinar. We are very close to finish our website. So for the subtitle, we're gonna again change the size, position, and font. So let's just do it quickly. So we want to align it centrally. We want to change the font size to something like, let's say 30 pixels, and we're gonna copy the same font type. And finally, last but not the least, button. So we want to style our button now. So then again, we will change things you already know. So width, height, font weight, and so on. So let me quickly do this one. Or actually just let me copy them. I want to just remember that you will find all the code for the final project and all the steps in the lesson files, which are available for you. Okay, so here this is how it looks like right now. But we want to center it, and now in order to center this element, we have to do it a little bit differently. So we're gonna do it this way. I'm gonna use margins. I'm gonna set, I wanna have 50 pixels and auto, and I'm gonna explain to you very shortly what is this about and why I'm using this awkward semantic. But for now, just check that this works perfectly fine for us. So the button got centered. And now, what is this syntax? Margin. So what we can basically, there are four different attributes which we can use for to change the margins. As you can see here, we change them only to the bottom one, but we could basically, for example, change margin like this. So top, right, bottom, left, and we could just write four different options for this one. But there is a shorter version for this one, which looks like that. And this basically means the same. So we can use this shorter version, which basically means the same. So in our case, this one, we set up the top margin to 50 pixels and all others to auto. So there's gonna be this, they're gonna be decided. They're gonna be applied by browser automatically, the value of the margin. And another new thing here is display block. What is it? This is important for you to understand. It's important for you to understand that there are two basic kind of elements in HTML, in CSS. So for now, you just have to know that there are block and inline types. So the block level elements always starts on a new line, while inline elements does not start a new line. So you can check this. By doing simple test. I'm gonna show you this quickly. So for example, paragraphs. Let's do it in project HTML. Are block elements, while span are inline elements. So as you can see, we have like paragraph and paragraph next to the second paragraph next to the first one, and the same with span. So we have span and next to another span next to each other. So we would expect that this paragraph will be next to each other and the spans will be next to each other. Let's check this one. And as you can see, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work as expected, because paragraph by default it's block element, which means it always starts in the new line. So don't be surprised if you are trying to get them next to each other and they won't work. This is pretty much a very common issue, very common problem. So this is one thing, and there is also span, which are inline elements. So for example, if you are typing, let's say, inside the paragraph, you are typing some sentence and you want to use strong, stress it out. So you will see that this one got, this element got stronger, but it didn't create a new line for us. So this is for you to remember as for now, that there are block and inline elements. Okay, so one of the last things which we want to do to finish our website is that we want to change background of our button, because as you can see now the text is white and the background is like grayish or whitish. So what I want to do is that I want to change our background color, and you already seen this. When we were talking about body background, and we set it to image and color, and we mix them all together. So now we're also gonna use color, but we're gonna use it in different ways. So before you've seen this way of choosing color, it's called hex, and this is new representation, RGBA, and basically this is using RGB colors. And what it is, I'm gonna explain you in the future, in the next webinars. But important thing is that the first three numbers define the color. So if I click here, as you can see, it's changing. It's showing me different kind of colors as a mix of red, green, and blue. And the last one is a transparency level. So if we set it to 0, our button will become transparent, and this is something which we were looking for. Okay, guys, this is pretty much it. I mean, we have our website ready, but I think we need to since we have very good timing. I'm gonna quickly show you a few more tricks to make this website even more sexy. So let's quickly change it and apply some extra styles. So first of all, I'm gonna give I'm gonna give our button some rounded corners. So in order to do it, I will type border radius, and I'm gonna say it's gonna to be 5 pixels. So let's refresh, and now we have this nice rounded button. So now I want to add some extra effect. So I want to change my button every time I hover over it with my mouse. So this is another learning point important, that I'm gonna use this new way of styling. So I'm gonna say class register, but I'm gonna add that I want to use it only on hover, right? So this styles which will be used here will apply it only when I hover over certain element. So what I want to do, I want to change background color to white, and I want to change, because our font is white, so I want to change color of our button to something like, let's say 222. So it's not really black, it's something kind of grayish, right? So it's not black, it's almost black. Let's refresh and see. Yeah, now it works, right? So every time we hover, we got this this nice effect, but it's still a little bit clumsy. I mean, it's just, it would be nice if we can change it to do it smoothly, right? So let's add some animation. So this is some more advanced. This is some more advanced technique. but I just want you to know that it just exists, and I want to give you a quick demo how to use it and how it works. So so you will get this kind of feeling, and you can then learn more about it by yourself or with us in a future webinar. So let's add this new animation to both the register and register hover class. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use transition, and we want to transition from background. We want to apply animation to background color, and this transition will last for 1000 milliseconds, and transition for color. Okay. And I shouldn't use comma here. And we're gonna do exactly the same in a hover class. So let's see what it does. Look. Oh, so nice, so gently, right? Okay, guys, so our website is ready. We did it in an hour, which I believe is a very good result. So if there are any questions, feel free to ask. I'm gonna stay here for a little bit longer, so you could ask questions. And just let me quickly remind you that first of all, you can register for future webinars on this website, which I'm sharing with you on the chat. Keep in mind that we are keeping this date and time fixed, so it's gonna be next Tuesday. And the same time as today. Now, also please keep in mind that we have this Facebook group which you can join, and I strongly encourage you to do so, because you will find all the materials on information on coming webinars on the group itself, and also some extra documents, some extra quizzes, and yeah, and that's much for today. So if there are any questions, guys, please do not hesitate. Please do not hesitate to ask. Please do not hesitate to contact us. As you can see, there is already next live about JavaScript. So the third filler of web development scheduled in 6 days. So the next Tuesday. Okay, Mark, got my timing wrong. Australia. Is this stream going to be online so I can see it all later? Yeah, sure, Mark. It is recorded. So I posted a link to the group, Facebook group. Please join it, and you will find the link to the recorded video afterwards. So also, guys, for you to know, we are streaming both to Facebook and YouTube, so you can check that. But I would strongly encourage you to join the Facebook group, because this is where we help all together. Stella, thank you very much for the kind words. Very nice tutorial. Thank you. And I need to learn measurements. TJ, great. I'm happy that I help you. And yeah, I mean, that's, guys, what we're gonna do right now. I mean, this coronavirus time, I mean, it hits us all. So this is what we try to do as a MDB to help I mean, everyone who is willing to learn something. So we will create tons of materials. Now we will create a lot of webinars. And by the way, I just wanted to show you Let me quickly find this one as education. Guys, you can also check our previous webinar when we talk about the IT career itself. So as you can see on my screen right now, there we have prepared this web developer roadmap for you. So if you don't know where to start, we're gonna help you to understand what you have to learn, and yeah, this is like, see, this is the very detailed front end map which we prepared for you. And what we are going to do in coming days and weeks, we'll just cover each and every piece of this information, of this technology, so you could learn it with us, and at the end you could become like a web developer. Bernard, I'm coming from backend. I would like to learn tricks of CSS, especially measurement. Sure. I mean, for today, we wanted to keep it. To keep it simple. As I mentioned, you can always go to MDB bootstrap/education/CSS, and then you will find this. This units here, and you can read more about them. So just feel free. Ryan, did you create MDB? Yes, Ryan, I'm co-founder of MDB. So together with the friend of mine, we've created MDB, and now we have a great team of 20 developers which are currently working on MDB product. So yeah. Anna Z, yeah, sure. We will have. So as I mentioned here. Look at this one. It's actually about this one. This developer roadmap, which is showed here, we're gonna cover that all, right? So you have this different techniques, different lessons, and then you choose one of the React, Vue, Angular. But there is important thing to mention that if you go to our website, MD Bootstrap Education, you will already find free tutorials here on Angular, on React, and on Vue. So yeah, you can just go through all of them, and they are free, of course. So if you go there, you will see that you have like crash course on each and every technology, and it's written. So you can just download it and follow and just do it at your pace. So yeah, guys, I mean, just check this out, because you can wait for webinars. You can wait for webinars, and you can wait for webinars, or you can just you don't need to wait. You can just go and see our tutorials. Okay, TJ, I know where I'll be Tuesday now. Good to hear you, TJ. Good to have you here. Vladimir, thank you for great tutorials. They are very helpful. There's so much to learn, and we have enough time during COVID. That's true. I mean, we all have time, and it's all depend on us how we're gonna use that time. And Claudio, these programs, which program do you use? I think it's Xmind. It's called Xmind. Okay, guys. So since I don't see any more question, then I think we'll be ending for today. So again, guys, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And please share us feedback with us here on the chat, on a group, via Twitter. You can find me on Twitter. Just check me it's my that's my profile. Just reach me anyhow and give me feedback about, because we want this webinars to be better and better. You can also share the feedback on the Facebook group, of course. Please do not hesitate to do so and share me. You can friend me on Facebook, whatever suits you. Okay, no questions. Bernard, do you have any video for Laravel? Bernard, we don't have yet, but as you can see on this one, we will cover the backend part as well. So we'll definitely touch Laravel, I think very soon, because we are creating tons of materials right now. And Mark, is there a demo of the best way to use MDB snippets and pull them into React? Have had some interesting result that have not been great. Well, actually, currently we are rebuilding the snippets, for React, Vue, and Angular to use some other engine. So, Mark, we are working on that. So hopefully soon you can use them as easily as others. And for others who don't know what snippets are, if you go to mdbootstrap.com/snippets, you can create your own snippets in different technologies, and the snippets is a tool which allows you to program to make a website, to make application, make scripts in web browser without using Notepad, without using any files, right? So everything we basically did today. Let me quickly try to copy this one for you. So let's use index. Let's copy this here. Let's use styles. Let's copy them here. And as you can see, boom, we've got exactly the same result in the browser without using any files, and they are immediately refreshed. You can publish them, you can send to your friends, you can get feedback. You can also show them in a full screen mode, display them that way. So Hylin, hope you will not delete this live video. No worries, we're not gonna delete it. To be honest, I'm not sure how it works on Facebook. I hope that that's gonna stay for some time here. But for your information, we are recording these webinars, so they will be available. Later, so you can watch them later on. And webinars will be available offline. Will be available to watch later in this group. So let me just give you the link to the group. And also please keep in mind that the files are available on a GitHub repository. So guys, for this GitHub repository, lesson files, for this GitHub repository, you will find the tutorial itself, and as you can see, each and every step was described here. So if you download this, you will see something like this. No, sorry, not like this, something like that, where we described each and every step. So you can reproduce the website from a very beginning. Okay, some other questions. Dejan Ivkovic, if you will make tutorial for Laravel, you must say that people need special servers. Yep, of course. I mean, well, not necessarily special server. They can use the local environments, but for sure, before we will post, we'll start doing lives on web on any backend technology. We are always posting, guys, video on how to prepare for lesson. So we will explain how to install and set up everything and configure everything, so you can follow this. So don't worry. As I said, you don't need a really dedicated server for this one. You can set up everything on your local host machine, and we will explain how to do it. And in the future, we'll also cover dedicated servers and so on. Arndt, I try and maintain the Webpack bubble guide for MDB, and I think I just found how to fix MDB so it works with the Webpack. Cool. I mean, if you can share it, if you can contact us with contact@mdbootstrap.com, it will be awesome to see your input. Probably that will be helpful for all the community. Okay, guys. If there are any other questions, feel free. I will be happy to answer them. I will stay a few more minutes with you. Yeah, local, yes, but for real, true. But you know, this webinars, they have this learning purpose. So I believe it's a good starting point for everyone. Good to see you guys. Good to have you here. I hope that you are doing very well in this Corona time. And I really appreciate that you spent last 1.5 hours with us. We really appreciate it. And please again share feedback with us, because we want these webinars to become better and better and better. And just to let you know, there were like more than 100 people today on both platforms. So yeah, it's a pretty nice audience. Asterisk, yep. Dejan, you're right. My bad. So I will. Vladimir, which scheme do you want me to show? Are you talking about CSS or our roadmaps? And Vladimir, please check the link I shared above to the GitHub. You will find the final result, final files in it, so you can download it. And if you missed something, just catch up on this one. Roadmaps, we shared it here. For roadmaps, I've got too many. So this is the roadmap. This one, and also you can find a previous webinar on career path in IT. You can find it here. So if you missed that, and you can follow this. Previous webinar. It was about the career path, about salaries in IT, about how to choose specialization for you, how to choose career path for you, where to start, how to start, and also some coding basics. I also encourage you to watch this one out, because it contains this basic ideas for programming, like variables, functions, and so on. So like this concept, which will stay with you regardless of programming language you use, and you know, every time you're doing something, even using some Excel sheets, it's gonna stay with you. So if you learn these basics, you will definitely use it in almost any programming language. Okay guys, so again, thanks for watching. Share feedback, join the group, and see you soon. See you next Tuesday, the same time. We're gonna cover a new subject, which will be JavaScript, so HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and we're gonna do some really cool stuff, I promise you. So see you next week, and thanks for watching today. Take care, guys.